to discuss, and most of them have been pretty level. And you know what? To be honest, it's kind of exciting. I think it's very exciting, you know, to have microphones in your face. You know, feel like a star sometimes. Especially a young guy like me who's a graduate from Wells High School.
Yay!
Woo, woo, woo.
You know, they've been asking me that question because I told them both of us were members of the Wells class of '81, but we both got out in different ways.
That's right, we sure did.
And well, no, I'll be the first to admit, neither one of us walked across the aisle. I was on the 5-year plan. I kind of put my diploma on layaway. I had a bad year, and then I went back for my second junior year, and then I finally got out in '82. But I don't like to say that I'm from class of '82.
Okay, well, I'm from the class of '81, and actually what I did in my freshman and sophomore year at Wells, I was in day school. In my junior and senior year, I went to night school because I was working at Burger King. I was trying to, you know, make the burgers, man. And
that was my question.
So I asked if I could go to night. I asked my counselor if I could go to night school and still work, and they allowed me to, and which was fortunate for me. And what I did was, you know, I worked and I did go to night school. And actually, you know, what was unique about night school, which could be a pro and a con, a lot of adults went to night school. So I was actually in class with a lot of older people. They were like people who were coming back to school. And so I got to hang around with a lot of older chicks. And I'm sorry, I shouldn't say chicks, but when I was that age, that's what I used to call them. With a bunch of older ladies and older guys. And I actually got the opportunity to graduate a little earlier because the night school kids, or night school adults or young adults, we graduated a little earlier than the regular school. So I actually graduated about a month earlier than all of the guys I grew up with, which was kind of cool.
So I got out a year later, and you got out a month earlier.
I got out a month earlier.
But people looked at you like you're the one that goofed up and ended up in night school.
Well, you know, and what was cool about it though was that, you know, they thought I was another adult who came back to school when I was just, you know, I was in my regular grade. So it was kind of okay.
You know, it's pretty cool stories that you tell because you came from the inner city, you went to Wells where Miguel has gone to, and eventually Monica might wind up at Wells. Where's your mom going to send you? It's going to happen soon. Got to make up your mind, young lady. And then to find out that your first job was at Burger King?
First job was at Burger King, and you know, I'm not advertising for Burger King, but if Burger King, you can take it as an advertisement. You need to donate some money to the Union League Boys and Girls Club because we're advertising your name.
My first job was at Union League Boys and Girls Club.
That's great. You know, I'm proud to have the Union League Boys and Girls Club in my ward. Harvey, you do a great job over there with the kids. This guy is probably one of the funniest guys in the world. He always makes me laugh whenever I'm around him. But he's always trying to help you young guys feel your growth, you know, give you opportunities to grow in a lot of different areas.
You know, we also have to thank you because 2 of the kids that you see before you are going to Houston come Thursday for the National Keystone Conference. Mr. Burnett made a donation to your cause. He wrote out a check.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So that means you better not be mean to me.
Well, it was an amazing thing that happened with this. Officer David Ramos, Chicago police officer, somebody who works with you, decided to practically adopt the Keystone Club. He went in there and he heard about what we were doing and he says, you know what, I got to get involved. So he asked me to write a letter. I write a letter. He starts hustling. He starts calling people up. The checks start rolling in. Jesse White goes to awards night, who also works with you. The next day, we got a check for $500 from Jesse White. And then the check comes in from you. Lizer for the block party, a check comes in from you. And it says Walter Burnett on it. It doesn't say Mayor Daley's funding. It's Walter Burnett just making a donation. And I thought that the kids ought to know that you are helping to make it possible for them to run off to Houston and miss school for a couple of days, which I still don't like.
But we ain't doing nothing in Wells anyway. We're just gonna go Thursday and try to watch a movie.
Okay, well, you're Wells class of what now?
2004.
Class of 2004. Mr. Burnett, class of '81, as far as I was, except I was on layaway plan, made it '82. Tell him what Wells is like now, and then maybe he can tell you what Wells was like back then.
Well, it got strict a little.
That made me good. It was kind of buck wild when we were there. It was very wild. You know, one thing that's good about Wells High School, you know, I speak a little Spanish, I speak a little Ukrainian. I speak a little Polish. I speak a little Italian. You know, basic things. You know, mostly greeting things. Guess what? I learned it from going to Wells because everybody went to Wells. You had Italians there. You had Ukrainians there when I went. You had blacks from the West Side, black guys from Cabrini Green. You know, I mean, you had Hispanics. Unfortunately, at that time, there was a whole bunch of different gangs and all those different nationalities. But Muslims, you know, Arabic kids. So it gave me the opportunity to meet a whole bunch of different cultures. And I had friends from all over, and which was a very unique thing. And that experience, I wouldn't trade for anything in the world. You know, I'm glad that I was able to go to a school that was diverse like that, rather than go to a, you know, an all African American school or all boys school or something like that. Although, you know, at times there was, you know, some gang stuff, which is kind of typical. But I think Wells is a lot better than it was during the days when I was going there.
Have you been back to visit since you?
Yeah, I actually been back. You have a female principal now.
Yeah,
if I'm
Miss
not mistaken,
Martinez.
Miss Martinez. When I first got elected, I went back because I was excited, you know, to be the alderman. And, you know, I went back to tell the principal I came from Wells, and I asked to speak to the youngsters there. I was actually trying to encourage them to get involved with the Young Democrats, because I used to be the chairman. Before I got elected, I was the chairman of the Young Democrats in Cook County. So I was going on tours to all the high schools, asking all the kids to get involved with the Young Democrats. Of course, I didn't get much response, but it was a great opportunity to see. And you know, it's so funny when you go back to those schools. You look at the lockers; they look so small now. You know, you look at the classrooms; they look like they shrunk. You know, it's like when you're there, everything looks so normal size. But when you go back, as you become an adult, it looks like everything shrinks. You know, it's real funny. And I remember we used to hang out at the restaurant. What's the name of the restaurant right there?
Where they have the subs, right? Is that
Yeah,
Vic's they used to call it?
Vic's.
Yeah, Vic's. Is Vic still there?
Mm.
Pizza place.
It's a pizza place now?
He passed away.
No, it's still there.
They used to have sub
on the corner
sandwiches.
on Ashland.
Right on the other side of Walton.
Yeah, on
The
Walton.
little street by the
Yeah,
back,
it's
the
still
back
there.
entrance.
Still there, yeah. That used to be the restaurant, man. You know, we used to try to ante up some money so you can get the sub because you didn't want to eat the school lunches, and that used to be the big thing. And if you were able to afford the sub, you was like the stuff, you know, because you had some money, you know, to buy your own lunch and didn't have to eat the regular lunches. So it was.
How did the students react to you when you went back there in '95 as alderman?
You know.
You didn't phase them at all?
Not really. They were. I may have, you know, but you know, of course, young people don't show their expressions too much on their face. You know, it wasn't like they was like all geeked up to see me and everything.
Well, let me ask you guys then. There's 4 of you here. When I told you that you were going to meet the alderman and Reddy, what was your reaction? I mean, what did you expect was going to happen? I mean, here he is. He's got his baseball cap and his T-shirt and his jeans, and I guess you had a different
I thought he
impression.
was gonna wear a suit, you know.
Well, you know, I wanted to make you guys comfortable, you know, and I didn't want to feel uncomfortable. And I figured you guys weren't going to have on suits, so I said I'm not going to wear a suit.
Well, it's radio.
You was an alderman for 6 years?
I've been an alderman for 6 years in my ward. You know, when I ran, I was one of the youngest. I'm still one of the youngest. And as Harvey told you, I grew up over in Cabrini Green.
How was it like over there?
Well, you know, I mean, it's like anywhere else. I mean, some folks may ask you how is it about your career, and you say, oh, it's all right. You know, it may be some things that go on, but it's home.
Is that the funniest thing, Cynthia? You probably get that too. People ask you where you live, and you sit there, go 18th Street, and you go, horrors, because they hear all these stories. But it's home, so you don't look at it that way.
So you don't look at it like everybody else look at it, you know. And it was cool. And you know, during the time when I was growing up, that's when sort of like gangs really, you know, initially gangs were just fighting with sticks and bats and stuff like that.
They weren't doing guns too much.
They didn't have too many guns when we were growing up. Then, you know, somebody.
Do you remember who everybody was afraid of when we were in high school? I don't know if you remember this kid. His name was Munchkin.